Hello Vanguard Nation, it is time for our 2022 Beach Season Preview. Head Coach Kris Dorn with us. Yeah, he's excited. We're all excited. Pretty good season last year. Back at it for 2022. Coach, how are you doing today?
Great. It's like you said, it's something we're really excited to do, and we got about a week to play, so it's awesome.
Tell us a little bit about the end of last season. Obviously, you went out to the, I forget the acronym, AVCA. There we go, I was going to say P. Championship out there, came home almost as the champion.
Yes.
But still a great result, and a team that now potentially will have a chance for some NAIA glory this year.
Yeah, it was, as you know, last year was tumultuous in a lot of ways, so I think in our reflections, even though yes, we had our sights set a little bit higher, we can't be upset with what happened last year. When you look at like the GSAC championship, when you look at the fact that we were undefeated in GSAC and had so much turmoil with just the COVID processes and losing a couple players and that kind of thing, it's just I'm so proud of like the ladies and where they're able to kind of fight. And culture is such a huge thing for us, and so that is by far the thing that I think we all kind of take the most. Pride is the wrong word, but that's the thing that we elevate the most, right? It's like, yes, we want to compete. That's obviously what we want to do. We want to compete at the highest level, and we want to train that way. But we can get the best out of each other when we kind of push each other in love, right? I'm holding you accountable, but in love, because I love you and I want the best for you. So that was spectacular to see, and that's really a highlight from last year too. So.
Well, then let's dive a little bit into the transition this year. What has the off-season been like for you in the beach program, and how things shaped up with the first few weeks of practice here?
It's been great. Again, protocols vary, so we don't always have our full team. I think we only had our full team once so far. But even with that, we've got a crew that just like to work hard. We've brought in, I think potentially, we have 6 people that are new in the roster right now. And I believe we only lost 3, but don't hold me to that. And so all of them have come in either with some prior experience or had great indoor experience to kind of still continue to make the transition. But it's been, I'd say from top to bottom, it's been our strongest team skill-wise and athletically that we've had since we've been here, which is great to see. And then again, like that legacy of culture has been building on itself. So I'm always super impressed with the bonding times that we get to have, and sharing life stories and the vulnerability that we're allowed to have, and how that again like plays into like, okay, I know you and you're safe with me, and I'm going to protect you and I'm going to fight for you. And that plays so well with our team, and honestly it just makes it so much better to just get out there and be with them every morning, and kind of like, hey, like we get to see the sunrise together, right? There's not a lot of distractions here. We get to be at the beach together, and we start our day with accomplishment and competition and growth, and it's awesome.
I'm not one who loves early mornings, but if I had to do an early morning practice down at the beach like that, it's probably the only way you're going to get me out of bed.
I'm right there with you.
So, fair point on that. So, who do we got this year? I know you're going to mix up the pairings a bit, that's your job as coach, is find who fits with who. But who's on the team this year, and how are the pairings coming together?
Pairings are always, it's always a big question mark, because it's not as simple as hey, the top 2 players play together, the next 2 players play together. So there's about 100 different criteria that we break down every week as far as what our priorities are we staying true to our philosophy, and then then how do we break those partnerships down within that philosophy. And then at the end of the day, let's say now we have 6 teams, then who's going to beat who consistently, or more importantly, who's going to go earn a point for Vanguard. So when we share partnerships, like we just last week, we kind of announced partnerships for this next weekend. And again, like it'll probably change some point during the semester. People are going to get better. We might have some injuries here and there. Things will flux. But the vision is, if our goal is to say, hey, we're here to compete, and we're here to compete for Vanguard and earn a point, then that's my end goal, right? So Justin wants to get better, not just for your sake, but then for your partnership.
Actually.
Yeah, there you go. So you get better for you and for your partnership to contribute to the team, right? And same thing, I am getting better for myself, for my partnership, and for my team. And so really, whoever we play during the season, whether it's Division I, NAI, or some other random opponent we're playing, like that's the goal, is to continually get better, continue to adapt. And so it does help us relieve a little bit of the pressure of getting caught in like, well, I kind of feel like I should be at this seat instead. But I will say again, like our girls are super competitive, and they love like when we get into like these competitive drills and these trials. So it's I think there's a variety. I know I'm going to give you a really specific answer, but I think it's because we have so many options to do this year, and there's so many people who could be good partners for each other. So a lot of it will depend on who other people have recruited to and how we see that best fitting. So.
Cool. And how are some of the new players meshing in? I know you've got a couple, as you said, from indoor world, and how much of a challenge is that coming from inside to going out, and it's only 2 of you back there instead of having 5 others around you?
Yes. So in some ways it's great because you get to demonstrate all of your skills, and you touch the ball a lot more because you're essential for the play.
Yeah, you have to dig, set, and spike.
Exactly. Yeah. I think the negatives are, we kind of compare this to a marriage relationship, where if you don't learn how to communicate like properly, quickly, and almost bluntly, out of love, but like if you cannot learn to do those things, you're going to harbor something, and something, it's just going to keep going down, down, down. And I can't, if they're picking on me the entire time, you need to know how to still do your best and do best for our partnership without getting down yourself because you don't feel like you can contribute, and then vice versa. I can't get down on myself because they're picking on me the whole time. So we've got to work to come together, and hey, how can we do this the best way for both of us, right? I want to get back to the heart of your question though. Keep talking. What'd you ask me again specifically?
But how are they coming along? Are they looking good? There you go.
Yeah, the other part of the indoor transition is this, every skill is just different enough. And so there is a mental battle, not just a physical battle, like, hey, my timing's a little bit different, I don't jump as well, I don't move as quickly during in a substance that moves itself. So it's a little bit of that, relearning some physicality, relearning how to have a longer touch on each motion. Setting is almost completely different with a little bit of technique that we use. And then just a lot of the philosophy behind it is, there's a different kind of vision that you need, even in how you view yourself on the beach than in indoor. And it's hard when people come in because, again, we want to recruit good players. So recruiting players who have a certain level of mastery in the indoor game. And that's through mentality and physicality and emotionality, whatever you want to call it, they have it already. So it's difficult to now enter a new sport because it is a new sport, right? It has some similarity, obviously, it's still volleyball. But to have your mastery expectation here, but your physicality and your beach mentality is behind, it takes a little while to kind of get those adjustments going. And so we're, again, in a healthy space. They've been doing really well and adjusting really well. And again, I think the vision is the biggest piece for us, and they've really been adapting to that. Like, how do I look? How do I see what the other team's doing? How do I work well with you, and how do we move together? So it's been very good.
Let's talk schedule then for a little bit, as well as the GSAC. Obviously, you'll have a couple rounds where everybody shows up and gets to play each other. And you've got some D1 opponents again. What is this team going to go through in this 2022 campaign?
Great question. So typically we have at least three preseason tournaments as well, and we'll see a lot of those D1s as well. Last couple of years because of COVID, that has really been cut down dramatically. So we only got 1 preseason match, but we're looking forward to learning. Again, we're not expecting, we can't win a championship next weekend. We can't win a national championship next weekend. It's about the process. And so if we continue to love the process and engage and really kind of, we talk about this all the time, we cast the vision probably every 2 weeks of like, we are going on this path. And every little bump in the road and every victory is on the way to this path. And so we need to keep that mindset of growth and adaptation, and so I'm really looking forward to us getting our kind of just jumping right in, getting off the van and basically having a couple hours to warm up and then jumping right into play. So I think it's going to be a great barometer for us to see how our conference is, because at least, even though we don't play everybody that first weekend, everybody will be there. So we'll be able to kind of take snapshots of what they look like and who they brought in, same kind of questions you're asking us right now. So, and then the D1s are such a great test for us. It's we've got one really difficult day where we've got 3 matches in a row up at Bakersfield, which tends to hold in the heat and the moisture anyway. So up there, for instance, we're playing Bakersfield and then playing Pacific and then playing Pepperdine. So it's going to be a very long day, but those are such great opportunities, and they expose different things in us. So even if we lose, okay, they're going to point out different things. They're typically going to have taller blockers, or people who are going to hit a little bit harder. And I think for us, because we're still a newer program, it's, hey, we might have girls that have 5 to 7 years of experience. Their girls have 7 to 12 years of experience. So there are some differences there that we can really learn from, and even things that we're trying to point out in practice will be exaggerated in those matches. And so we can come back and say, oh yeah, you're right. Hey, this shot that I've been working on actually really does go down against anybody. So I can continue to work on that as my strength, but also they expose my weakness in this category. So it's kind of nice to be able to have those matches to obviously play great competition and see if we can step up, but also how do we take that knowledge and move forward.
Any preseason inkling on how the GSAC schools stack up, or is that TBD?
It'll probably be a TBD. Again,
Alright.
I think this first weekend will be very telling. I know a lot of us had to recruit a lot of people this last year, and again, COVID made it for a weird year last year. So it's going to be, I think we're going to see a lot of new faces, and I'd be willing to guess that we're going to see a lot of junior college transfers, or people who have come from the indoor game this year. So it should be fun.
Final question then, what are your thoughts, expectations, wishes for the team here in this 2022 campaign?
We surprised ourselves in the past with how we performed at the AVCA championship. And then last year we went in with full guns blazing, like, hey, we're going for the championship, we think we can, right? And I think this year is special because, every year is going to be significantly different. Even if you added or lost one person, it's going to change the culture, it's going to change your competitive level, you're going to get better, so on and so forth. We're going to face different obstacles. And so I'm really looking forward to this being the first year that the NEI actually hosts an official invitational championship.
Out in Florida?
So, exactly. So that, and then again, we have our second conference tournament that's going to be hosted in Arizona. So both of those are kind of huge milestones on that road that we've been talking about. Again, as a true competitor, I want to see the best, and I want to be able to step into those moments and be my best as well, right? And kind of test out the waters there. And, we all know this is such a small picture, but this is something, the reason we love sports, like, hey, if I can practice these things and even practice failure and what I can learn from that here, I can take that to the real world. And that's what we want to do. So yes, our goals are GSAC championship. Yes, our goals are national championship, but also this will be, these effects will be, just have a repercussion for the rest of our lives. And that's where we really get to see like the most growth in them as people too, so.
Well, we're excited for that, and hopefully you will be able to qualify out there and get to Florida and challenge for a red banner. Plugged on your home events, you've got 3 or 4, I think. Where should Vanguard faithful go see the girls out in action this year?
Great question. We are in Huntington Beach, which is a great place to be, and we kind of share courts that are at Brookhurst Street. So if you're on the corner of Brookhurst Street and PCH, it's beautiful. It's again it's really just ocean view and then some courts right there. So it's an awesome place to be.
Perfect. And there is some free parking about there. It does cost money to get into the state beach, but worth it. Worth it. So make your plans. Get out to Brookhurst and PCH. See these girls in action. Coach Kris Dorn, thanks for stopping by. Best of luck in this upcoming season.
Thank you.